Peace and welcome everyone to our class on a call to the lioness within on this full moon in Aquarius. My name is Aura, creatress of Fierce Feminine Rise. And today we're going to be learning about a really, really beautiful and sacred goddess, Sekhmet, who is also the lioness goddess, hence, the name of our class today. But before we dive in and learn more about Goddess Sekhmet today and more about ourselves, honestly, because we're, as we're exploring this goddess, we're also exploring our relationship with her and what that's like. And some different things might come up for you tonight. So just be with your own experience. Nobody's experience is the same. And that's what makes it so beautiful. So Goddess Sekhmet is really one about connecting to the heart. And so we're gonna practice a heart breath tonight just to get settled into this space. No matter when you're tuning into this class, it's gonna be right on time and yeah, just as potent. So whether you are here live or listening to the recording, may you receive exactly what you need to receive from tonight's class. All right, so we'll start by just anchoring in wherever you're at. If you can find some stillness, just begin to find stillness. And in your stillness, I invite you to find relaxation. So a lot of times we can be still, but we can still be holding in different parts of our body. So I invite you to not only find stillness, but to also find relaxation, softening in that stillness. Whether you are sitting or lying down, just taking a moment to notice your feet. It is said that the feet are the wings of the womb that anchor us here on this planet. So just taking a moment to notice and honor your feet, these wings that get you around on the planet, take you from place to place without even being asked to, just like automatically does it. And we'll continue going upward, just noticing your legs, saying hello to your legs, your knees, your thighs. And saying hello to your hips and your pelvic region. If you have a uterus or a womb, saying hello to your uterus, your womb. And letting it know that it's safe to soften and to relax in this moment. Beautiful. Let's just take a breath here. We're halfway up the body, taking a nice deep breath in from the toes all the way up to the pelvis. Then exhaling back down the legs, out through the feet, into the earth. Let's do that a couple more times. So breathing in through the soles of your feet, all the way up into your womb, into your pelvic region. And then exhaling out, down the legs, out through the soles of the feet, into the earth. A couple more times at your own pace, really fortifying this connection between your feet and the earth, the lower half of the region of the body and the earth. Great. And then on your next in breath, up through the legs, up through the pelvis, you're going to come up into your belly region. And just saying hello to this part of the body, the stomach, the digestive system, the solar plexus. your inner fire. And just offering a breath to your solar plexus, breathing in and breathing out. Becoming aware of your heart space, how that heart extends out through the arms and the palms and the fingertips. Breathing in and breathing out. Becoming aware of your throat, back of the neck, becoming aware of your face, your head, your third eye and brain. And taking a breath in and a breath out. And I invite you to imagine a golden waterfall just washing down from the crown, so from the universe down through your crown, down the back of the body, down the front of the body, just giving your whole auric field a nice, beautiful cleanse. Letting go and releasing the day, releasing any other people's energies, energy we may have picked up from the environment. And just allowing this golden waterfall to wash through, rinse out, release, and cleanse your field. Taking a breath in and a breath out. And then coming into the center of your heart, now that all the debris has been cleansed out, finding your heart space and your connection to your heart. If you'd like, you can place a hand on your heart to help you connect with this space on your body. And I want you to just tune into the love you have for you. Coming into the fire, heart, breath of love for yourself. And just feeling how loved you are by others as well. Now let's connect our heart with the earth. So I want you to imagine the love of the earth from the very heart of the earth, the very core of the earth, rising up through all of the different layers of the planet, rising up through all the crystals on the planet, all the plants and foliage, feeling this love, this immense love from the earth, rising up through your feet, through your legs, through your pelvis, through your belly, and anchoring into your heart. So breathing in and up this earth love into your heart. So you're breathing in the love, and then as you're exhaling, you're breathing out gratitude. Breathing in love from the earth, and then you're exhaling out from your heart gratitude. And just feeling how loved you are by the earth. How thankful it is that you are here on the planet, shining your light. We're now going to anchor in the love from the heart of the universe into our own hearts. So just taking a moment to tune into your connection to the divine, to spirit, to God, to goddess, to angels, your ancestors, whatever it is that connects you, to that higher realm or that universal realm of consciousness. And feel that love pour down from the universe, down through your crown, down through your throat, and anchor into your heart. So breathing in this love from the divine down into your heart. And on the exhale, you're offering gratitude. Inhaling love and exhaling gratitude. Beautiful. Now, simultaneously, I want you to imagine breathing in the love from the universe while also breathing up the love from the earth so that they come and meet into the heart, into the fire of your heart. And then your exhale offering that gratitude out. So inhaling love from above and below into the fire of your heart. And then exhaling out gratitude. Inhaling from below and above, love into your heart. And as you do, you witness your heart fire growing. And then you're exhaling out gratitude. So continue like this, allowing your heart flame to grow brighter. Breathing in love and offering out gratitude. Beautiful, everyone. So from this place of connection to your heart and this connection to the earth and the universe, you're welcome to continue to keep your eyes closed and just tune in and listen to this invocation of Sekhmet, offered from the book of Heart of the Sun, an anthology in exaltation of Sekhmet. And this invocation was written by Jezebel. O thou lion-headed lady of flame, horizon of heaven, eternal of name, present, potent, and perfect one, bursting through the force of the sun, mighty of magic, daughter of Ra, solar protector, consort of Ptah, illuminator of the land, prowler across the desert sand, honored in Menepher's temples of stone, honored in hearts thou callest thy own, guardian of the Pharaoh's reign, patron of the surgeon's domain, thou who art the great devourer, thou who wields the scepter of power, with the Ankh and the Sa come forth in this hour, traversing the boat of millions of years, destroyer of those whom thy father fears, goddess of pestilence, scorcher of earth, heralding the water's rebirth, carnage of cities, eater of blood, with bitter plague and swirling flood, wildest in battle, goddess of war, shaking the heavens with thy mighty roar, ferocious avenger, celestial eye, searing the cerulean sky, lady of slaughter, shall show thy splendor. For us thou art the firm defender, thou who makes every eye to see, thou who causes the foe to fly free. Enter into the heart of me. My body invokes thee, Lady of Flame, by the secrets of thy name. Sekhem, Sekhem, in flesh and bone. Sekhem, Sekhem, it shall be known. I invoke thee by thy word. Sekhem, Sekhem, let it be heard. Sekhem, Sekhem, the magic speech. Through all the realms the sound shall reach. My body invokes thee, Lady of Might. Let my eyes blaze with mystic sight. Mine is the head of the lioness queen, all my senses honed and keen, leaping swiftly upon my paws, striking with my sharpened claws, seizing my prey in my savage jaws. I am Sekhmet, mistress of dread, my weapon the arrow, my color is red. I am Sekhmet, queen of strife, and I come forth with the Ankh of life. I am my father's most fierce projection, and I bear the sign of divine protection. For those who dare to call on me, I bring the strength to fight, not flee. Propitiation must be made. Propitiation must be made, for mine is the healing of the blade. To sever the useless and the outworn, to gather the fragments and mend what is torn. For I am the great devourer, and I wield the scepter of power, manifesting in this hour. Yes. So just taking a moment, finding your breath again. And I want you to tune into what your own experience has been thus far in your life with either Goddess Sekhmet or the lioness energy or even cat energy, right? Because she is actually a goddess of three in one. She's also the emanation of Beset, the goddess, the cat goddess, and also Hathor, the goddess of beauty. So I want you to just take a moment to reflect on your own connection, whether it be to her in particular, Sekhmet, or lions or cats, and just notice what that theme has been like in your life, or what you have noticed through this connection. So if you're feeling called to share, you're welcome to share what that relationship has been, either through your voice or if you'd like to be in the chat, you can just share anything that came up for you in relationship to this goddess Sekhmet or to the lioness.
Well, being a Leo and having cats, I feel very connected to this lion goddess. Also, just I've experienced throughout my life, I always have sort of a personality where I'm very driven. I'm always moving. I'm always doing something. Um, so a lot of fire burning within, and I've had many, many ways of expressing that fire or getting that fire out and putting it into the world. So I feel like, her energies and what she represents have always been qualities that I've embraced or people have seen in me or told me they've seen in me.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing. I love that. I love how you so eloquently put all of that, this fire you put out into the world. Ooh, I love it. So beautiful. And yes, to being a Leo, right? That'll get you right in relationship with the lioness. Sweet. So I'll share my experience with this goddess and what kind of has called me inward. And then we'll talk more about her origin story and her importance to the world. And then we'll do some work with her, with ourselves, on transmuting some things in our own life so that, she is a path clearer in a lot of ways. Her fire really clears the path so that we can live in our purpose on this planet. And so we're going to do some powerful work with that in a moment. But just to give you some background on my relationship with Sekhmet, it was one that was unexpected. I'm a water sign, I'm a Pisces. And so I never really felt fiery in the sense of like feeling a connection to fire that much, even though I know I have a very fiery soul in a lot of ways. So I just never really connected so much with this whole like lion energy or lioness energy. And so it was really her having to come in and like wake me up and be like, hey, I'm here. It's important that we be in relationship in some way. And so I remember when this was quite some years ago, but I was living in Los Angeles, and my roommate at the time had just gotten these cats. And I'm not a big pet person, no shade to the pets out there. They're sweet and amazing, but I just, it's a lot of responsibility. It's like having kids for me. So I'm like, I don't know, I'll wait on that. So anyway, my roommate at the time had got some cats, and one was all black, and his name was Midnight. And he was so sweet. And the cats were really sweet. They were kind of like playful, and they did their own thing. But I remember one day I was sitting there on the bed and I was doing some work, and this cat just like came through and like crouched down and just was staring at me, like just like staring. And I would turn and I was like, okay, Midnight, like what's up, And we eye gaze. We like locked gaze, and Midnight took me on a journey to Sekhmet, essentially, because we were just like in a trance staring at each other's eyes. And I started getting all these downloads about Sekhmet, and like I hadn't done my research on her. I didn't really know too much, but like this lioness goddess just kept coming online, like as I'm staring Midnight in the eyes. So after we like break our gaze apart, I immediately start Googling like lioness goddess, just because I wasn't sure. I didn't know. And sure enough, Sekhmet popped up, and I read about her origin story. I saw that she was connected to cats, and I was like, aha. So Sekhmet came to me, I feel, or like her other emanation, Basset, the cat goddess, came through and was like, all right, it's time for you to know us. So that was my first connection with Goddess Sekhmet. It was quite a powerful one. And at that time, I was doing a lot of shadow work. She is the dark feminine, right? So uh, if you don't know yet, Fierce Feminine Rise is about femininity, but it's not all the like light femininity. It's also the dark femininity as well. We have light and dark as women. It just is what it is, right? Like we go through death every month when we bleed, when we're menstruating. This is a cycle of death. Not every week is the same for us. We usually go through 2 weeks of light, right? That's when we're pre-ovulating, and then when we're ovulating, and then we go through 2 weeks of darkness where we're pre-menstrual phase, so PMS or luteal phase, excuse me, and then we go through our menstrual phase, which is also a dark week. So we're constantly shifting between these light and dark, and that's part of what this work of Fierce Feminine Rise is meant to inform. It's meant to inform us more about our bodies and to understand that we are not just the light feminine where we're just all put together and kind of have like this good girl kind of energy. There's also this dark feminine that's kind of ferocious and wild and free and cutthroat. And so at that time in my life, I was really exploring more of my own shadow, more of my own darkness. And I was noticing right before I was menstruating, a lot of anger was bubbling up for me, and I was spewing it out on other people. And I realized it was because I wasn't speaking my truth. I wasn't living in my truth. I wasn't speaking my truth. And I think really Goddess Sekhmet reached out to me and was like, hey, yo, it's you got to stop being passive. It's time for you to be more upfront and like speak your truth and be direct. And so I think that's why Sekhmet came to me at that time in my life. And then through there, we've just been on this journey. We've just been on this journey of one time I got these really amazing like Lumerian crystal earrings. And as soon as I put them on when I got home, I was like immediately transported to Sekhmet's temple in Egypt. She has a temple in Egypt. It's not one that's most frequented. It's kind of like hidden off to the side. But you can go there and you can go to her temple, which I would love to do one day. But I obviously have never been there, but somehow I put these earrings on, which they, if you're into crystals, like they have some power to them. And I went into this meditation where I was transported into Goddess Sekhmet's temple, and I was just there in front of her, Here is an image of her temple, actually. Her Sekhmet. This is Sekhmet in the temple of Karnak, Egypt. So you can kind of see her here in this temple, her statue. And a lot of her statues have been destroyed. You can find a few in museums in New York and other places around the world. But this is one that's still intact, actually, in the temple in Egypt. And so somehow I was there, and I was just there with her face to face. And she was like, you have to come to me, And so I just was like, oh my God. All right, I don't know what kind of wild journey we're going to go on, Sekhmet, but here we are. And I really do feel like Fierce Feminine Rise was birthed through her guidance, because it is about bringing more balance onto the earth, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, one more short story before we dive into her origin story. So from there, I've just been doing a little research as I could, and I put this image of a screensaver on my phone, and I had it there for over a year. This is the image of it. I had this image. It's actually still on my phone. But this is the image of Sekhmet. And then a year ago, I purchased these books to learn more about Sekhmet. So this one here that I have, I recommend. It's called Heart of the Sun. And this is edited by Goddess Sekhmet and Anne Key. And then I also purchased this book because I wanted to dive into deeper relationship with her. So I was like, let me buy these books and let's see where we go together. I buy this book. This book gets in the mail. And I look at this book. I'm like, wow, this book looks so familiar. Like, have I read this before? Feeling so confused. And then lo and behold, I had this image, one of oh, this is a different image now, but I had this image on my phone for over a year, and I had just changed it a few days before this book arrived. And I was like, wow, like synchronicity, I don't know, but I feel like I manifested the book back into my life, essentially. And so this book is Sekhmet, Transformation in the Belly of the Goddess, and this is by Nikki Scully. It's a phenomenal book. It's a very deep book. You're essentially going on a shamanic journey with Sekhmet, and you do this like deep, deep, deep healing work. I've been journeying with the book for over a year now. I'm almost through. Got a few more journeys left in there, but I've really been taking my time because the work is so potent. So if you do have an interest in going deeper into this work with Sekhmet, I highly recommend this book. It's a very, very powerful book. So those are my stories to Goddess Sekhmet. So we've been journeying together, and then with this Lioness Gate portal, which is still actually open, I think, until tomorrow or the day after, I just got guidance to, offer a class and share more about this lioness goddess that's often not talked about. She is an Egyptian goddess, but often the Egyptian goddesses we hear about is like Goddess Isis, Goddess Ma'at. We hear about Thoth or Horus. We don't or Osiris. We never really hear a lot about Sekhmet, and so I just want to create more space for her presence to be known because she is very, very powerful. All right, so that's my story. Now about her story, right? Like, how was she created? What was her purpose on this planet? So we'll go into this story now. I just want to pause. If there's any questions up until this point, make sure you're drinking water throughout this too. Okay, so Sekhmet, right? So it's said this is the origin story of Goddess Sekhmet. She is the daughter of the sun god Ra. And so it said, like, the sun god Ra was, created these people on the planet, and they were, worshiping Ra and living in divine harmony and balance with the earth and maintaining Ma'at principles, or balance, justice principles, truth and balance principles on the earth. But then suddenly something changed, and people were committing more wars and more crimes. People weren't honoring the earth anymore. They weren't honoring the sun god and the other gods and goddesses that were supporting the people of living like a truth and harmonic life on the land. And so this infuriated like sun god Ra, right? Like, it's like fire. He's like, what's going on? This is crazy. So, one day he looked upon the earth and he was like, all right, I need to create a fierce protectress of Ma'at, of these principles of divine balance and harmony and peace on the planet, so that people on the planet can remember. And so he looks upon the earth one day, and through his eye, he creates Sekhmet, right? And I think it's so interesting that Sekhmet doesn't come from like an Egyptian mother, right? When you look up who are Sekhmet's parents, it's only sun god Ra. And he looked upon the earth, right? And earth is often looked at as a feminine form, a feminine nature. How could this lioness, right, like form without the earth? So I believe that earth is her mother and the sun is her father. And that's how she was created onto the planet. And so when she came onto the planet, she came in with like ferociousness. Even though she is a goddess of healing, she is a goddess of fertility, she is a goddess of beauty. She is a goddess of both light and dark. And I think that's where people get a little confused. She is known, like, her element is fire, right? She lives in the desert. She's birthed from the sun god. She is a lioness. So she has a lot of fire. She has a lot of this, like, both light and dark principles to her. But she was specifically created to basically whip Earth back into shape. So she came onto the planet with fury and ferociousness and fierceness and bloodthirstiness, right? Like that's when she's a goddess of 10,000 names. She has so many different names. I'll share a few with you all. But yeah, she came for blood. She wasn't playing any games. She was the goddess, she was the warrioress, right? Like she is the protectress and the warrioress of goddess Ma'at. And so she came to bring balance and harmony back to the planet. But unfortunately, she had to do that through some rage and some violence because people weren't really getting the peaceful route so much. So she's on Earth basically like slaughtering people nonstop. And Ra's like, oh my God, what did I do? She's crazy. She's gone too far. She's killing too many people. The earth is flowing with blood, like rivers of blood everywhere. We've got to do something. So the people of Earth and him, and I don't know, maybe there was another helper, but they come together and they create this whole plan, this whole conspiracy, basically, to get her to stop killing people so savagely because she's just draining the earth of all people. She didn't know how to stop, right? Because she was made to do these things. So they come up with this plan to fill the lakes and rivers with pomegranate wine, so that when she sees the pomegranate, she'll think it's blood and she'll start drinking the blood. So they switch up. They create this like very potent wine. Could have even had like blue lotus flower psychedelics in it. And Sekhmet, she's sleeping after a big vengeful rage. She's taking a nap. And when she awakens, she sees these like rivers and lakes of blood. And so she starts lapping it up, licking and drinking the blood until she gets completely drunk. And then like falls over into like a drunken stupor and realizes what she's done. She like realizes the chaos and the havoc she's caused. And so she kind of gets out of that rageful, vengeful side of herself and comes back to her harmony and her balance. So that's the origin story of Sekhmet. Although I'm sure there's other stories, that's the one that's most well known. And yeah, so from there, a lot of pharaohs used to call on her before they were going into war. So you could have heard one of her names being Goddess of War. A lot of people would call on her and to support during those tough times or vengeful times, or if they were fearful about something, she could come in and protect them. So that is one of the sides to her. Now, the other side of her that we don't hear so much, right? Like that's more of the dark feminine side of her. But she also has this beautiful light feminine side to her, right? She's also an extension of the goddess Hathor, which is the goddess of beauty and art and music and poetry and like succulence and passion. She's also a very sexual goddess. The Lioness Sekhmet goddess is very sexual in nature as well. She's all about clearing out the old energies of sexuality and renewing them, so that because unfortunately there is a lot of sexual trauma that we hold in our bodies as women. Even if we didn't experience some kind of sexual trauma in this lifetime, and I hope no one has, but unfortunately, it is more likelier in this day and age. And if we haven't experienced it, definitely somebody in our matrilineal, our matriarch ancestry has probably experienced it. And if not there, it lives in the collective. So what connects all women who bleed is that we bleed. And so there's like this collective pain that we're all attuned to. And that collective pain comes from a lot of times the sexual trauma, the unjust of the planet, the knowing of loss, the knowing of death, the knowing of love. We share that as feminine embodied beings who bleed. We are all tuned into that. No matter when we bleed, if we sync up or we don't sync up, that anchors us to this collective pain body that lives on the planet. So she is also this goddess of light and healing and beauty and grace and fertility. There are a lot of women who have prayed to Goddess Sekhmet to get pregnant, and they have gotten pregnant. They come to her to pray for healing because she is the goddess of destruction. She must have the balance of the goddess of healing as well, right? What you create, you must, what you destroy, you must know how to heal. And so she's a powerful healer. So you can also call on her when you're doing healing work, or if you need support with healing something in yourself or your relationships or other people. And she's just a multi-dynamic goddess. Like she's often seen as like the primordial mother of all this femininity that comes from. So I want to share a few names of Sekhmet, the many names that she has. So this will kind of give us a little bit of a better idea of how other people knew her, right? If you have 10,000 names, that means you were known for a lot of things. If you can be described in 10,000 words. All right, so a few are Great One of Magic, Mother of the Gods, One who was before the gods were, Lady of the Place of the Beginning of Time, Flaming One, Protectress of the Gods, Destroyer of Rebellions, Eye of Ra, Wanderer in the Wastes, Self-Contained, Lady of Enchantments, Opener of Ways, Lady of many Faces, Victorious One in Battles, Inspirer of Males, Ruler of Lions, Ruler of Serpents and of Dragons, Enlightener, Complete One, Sparkling One, Destroyer by Plagues, Lady of the Bloodbath, Eater of Blood, Great One of Healing, Lady of the Waters of Life, Mother of the Dead, Great One in the Places of Judgment and Execution, Guide and Protectress from the perils of the underworld, Unrivaled and Invincible One, Winged One, Powerful of Heart, Mother of Images, Protectress of the Divine Order, Lady of Ma'at, Great One in Heaven, the Inspiration of Humankind, the Precious Flame of Hope, the Revealer of the Ancient Paths. And the list goes on, but those are just to name a few. So Sekhmet, she can be an intense goddess to work with, okay? She's not going to sugarcoat things for you. She's not going to placate you. She's not going to act like she doesn't see what you need to release in your life, right? She's going to be pretty frank and pretty direct. And so when you're working with Goddess Sekhmet, you just want to be mindful of that, because if you're calling on her for support of transformation, she's going to support you in that. So that means you can no longer be complacent and stay where you're at. And just know that that could create some rippling shifts in your life in a lot of different ways. So I just say that as a little bit of precautionary warning of just, being mindful of this goddess, because she's not here to play games. She's really here to support you with what you're asking her to support you with. And the biggest thing she loves to support people with is on their passion, on their purpose and their passion. So she has a really strong will to support you in clearing your path so that you have the power, right? That solar plexus power, that assertion, that leadership, that clarity in your vision, that confidence in yourself, that feeling of being enough to really do what you came here to do in life without all of these distractions and obstacles. So she really clears these obstacles for us. So I'm going to pause there because that was a lot. I just want to know if there's anything that's come up for you, or any questions you have, curiosities, or whatever that's that's present for you.
No questions.
Okay. Beautiful. All right, so let's dive into our work with her then. So that's a little background of this goddess. And now, one of the great ways that she helps us release is through fire. So we're going to be able to do a little fire ceremony tonight if you're up for it, if you have the space for it. But you could really do this anytime. And she really loves to work with knots, right? She's the devourer, right? This lioness goddess. She devours all our fears. She devours all our worries, all of our anxieties, anything that might be blocking us from our path, blocking us from our truth. She helps clear all that. And we do this through knotting. So this is a really ancient practice that they still do in Egypt. So you can use twine, you can use yarn, you can use your little rope, you can use pretty much anything you have. Essentially, you just want to be able to make knots in these. Okay, so what we'll be doing is we're gonna take some time, maybe like 5 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes, to really knot up whatever we're sitting with tonight. Whether that's any discomfort or pain in our body. You can knot up any obstacle you've been dealing with lately in life. So as you're creating your knots, right, you're thinking about these things. You don't have to say them out loud, but you're just sort of thinking about it. And every time a little sting comes up about something you're dealing with right now, like whatever that trigger is for you, you want to just create a knot for it, right? So just creating a knot for, whatever it might be. For example, like worrying about, am I on the right path, right? So just like you can knot up your worry about it, your doubts, your story about it. So there's no right or wrong way to this, but you want to just keep creating knots for any old memories that come up, any fears, any doubts. You can just create these knots. So we're going to start by doing that. So we'll get prepared for that, and then we will take some time to do some knots of gratitude and knots of things that are going really beautifully in our life, so that more of that comes as well. All right, so let's just take a moment to pause, get your tools ready if you haven't done so yet. I want you to just come back in. We got really into our heads and talking about all of these different facts about Goddess Sekhmet. So let's come back into our hearts. So breathing your heart fire breath, feeling that love of fire in your heart. And breathing up the love from the heart of the earth into your heart. And as we breathe out, we'll be breathing out and offering gratitude to Goddess Sekhmet. So breathing in love from the center of the earth into the center of your heart. And on your exhale, offering gratitude to Goddess Sekhmet. And really feeling that connection between the earth's heart and your heart. And then let's breathe down the love from the heart of the universe into our hearts. And on the exhale, offering gratitude to Goddess Sekhmet. And so now imagining, these streams of love coming down from the earth. Coming up from the earth, coming down from the universe into the heart, and exhaling out into gratitude. And just letting your heart flame grow a little brighter. It can be any color you want. Good. And from this place of connection to our heart, we're going to grab our yarn or our twine or our string. And from our truths knowing, we're going to just start, from our hearts knowing, we're going to start knotting up any hard truths that we might be facing in our lives right now. And just giving yourself permission to be really vulnerable. If anything came up for you while I was talking about Goddess Sekhmet, you can tie that into the knot. Any discomfort, any memories that might have surfaced. I'm just going to tie into the knot those feelings of unjustness or injustice, unfairness, frustrations, anger, and any of those other not so great feelings that we sometimes have to experience as human beings. Just allowing those emotions to go into the knots so that we don't have to hold them into our body any longer. Especially if you're wondering or worrying about the next steps in your life, give it all to Sekhmet. Give it all to these knots. And we'll take a couple more minutes. Really getting all that stuff out, knotting up all those pains, dis-ease, worry, heartaches, heartbreaks, old relationships. Any pain that is being held in your womb or your body. You can even knot things up about the world that you don't like. And if you happen to not have yarn, I didn't say this earlier, but if you happen to not have anything to make knots in, you can write it down on a piece of paper and also burn it that way. So that's more of the traditional way. We're just trying to take the mind out of it so much and really like allow the feeling in our body to just be put into these knots. So it's not so much heady, but either way is still powerful. So just working with where you're at and what you got is going to be great. Good. And we're going to pause here and just taking a moment to notice your knots or the words you wrote, if you wrote things down, just taking a look at it. And just know that this is going to be like savory, delicious yumminess that Goddess Sekhmet's going to devour in her fire. So she loves this. She loves all the shit that like makes us ache and like hurt and like the pain. She devours it all on our behalf. So it's great that we can offer it to her and she'll be able to transmute it. We're now going to take some time to also offer our gratitude and our prayers and the things that are going great in our life and the things that, you know, that we're thankful for. So let's now take a few minutes to do that because that's also tasty morsels for her as well and helps her know what's going right in our life. So she doesn't have to devour or like, you know, destroy that part. So coming back to your heart breath, invoking the flame of your heart. And from this place, tying knots of gratitude, of love, of prayers, of hopes, wants, desires, all that you want to bring into your life. All the things that are going right in your life, you can tie into this knot as well, just as an offer of gratitude. So all your wishes, all your hopes, all your desires, just knotting all those up as well. So we'll take another about a minute. Great. And then we're gonna pause here. Okay, great. Knot it up. Love it. All right, so before we continue with the next, part of this ceremony, I want to give us a little pause to go to the bathroom or take care of our needs. I know I need to, so we'll take a few minutes, maybe like three to 5 minutes. Take whatever time you need. I'm gonna pause the recording here, and then I'll start it back up. Okay, we're back from our little bathroom break, and now we are ready to burn. So this is a ceremony, a fire ceremony you can do with yourself anytime, and it's a really powerful one. And it's essentially, we're offering these knots up to Goddess Sekhmet so that she can burn away that which is no longer serving us and bring forth more of that which is serving us. So we are going to now take our knot, and if you need to cut or burn your thread from, the base, the rest of it, you're welcome to do that. So I'm just going to do that for me. So that way you just have your string of knots. And you want to make sure you have some kind of like container you can burn it in. So I'm just using like an old, I don't know, pan baking dish to burn mine in. But this works in a jar. This can even work in your bathroom sink. It could work in a small cauldron, like whatever you got. You just want to be sure you're being safe with wherever you're burning this at, okay? So before we burn it, let's just come back to our heart breath. You'll notice we do a lot of this heart breath because we don't want this immense power that comes from Sekhmet to necessarily come from the solar plexus or to come from a place that is not centered in love, because it is so powerful. We always want to come back to the heart, come back to the heart, come back to the heart. Because even though she is ferocious and fierce, she is also very sweet, loving, and loyal. She's like this fierce, loving mama who wants to really support us on our path. But she wants to make sure that it's just, that we're doing it for the harmony of our own selves, for our relationships, and for the planet, and not for self-gain per se. So let's just take a moment to come back to our hearts. And don't worry if you've been feeling some numbness in your heart or it's been hard for you to really do this fire breath. Believe me, it takes a lot of practice to really strengthen our connection to our own hearts. But the more we do it, which is why we keep doing it during this class, the easier it gets. So if you're in a place where you can close your eyes, just taking a moment to tune your awareness down into your heart. And just imagining your own heart flame. It can be any color. And noticing when you breathe in the love from the earth and from the sky, that flame grows brighter in your heart. And from this place of heart centeredness, I invite you to offer your own prayer, your own intention as you get prepared to burn your knots. So offering it in your own way and saying what you need to say. This could be in your head or you could say it out loud. It could be something along the lines of, I offer these knots to under this full moon to Sekhmet as a form of releasing and calling in. I am now ready to let go of all that stands as an obstacle on my path. I am ready to embrace my path that is free and clear for me to live in my heart's purpose and my soul's mission. And when you're ready, you can light up your knotted string, just being mindful, being careful, making sure you're doing this over or within your pot. And I invite you to really gaze upon the flame, really watch it as it starts eating away all these knots, eating away that which is no longer serving, as well as gratefully, deliciously licking up all of your gratitude and all of your blessings and prayers. Witnessing this natural element of fire and its power. Letting go, letting go, letting go. Calling in, calling in, calling in. May our paths be free and clear of all obstacles. May we move in alignment with our highest selves and our highest visions for our lives. May we release all past karmic agreements and patterns that no longer serve us. And just watching your fire as it blazes. And taking a moment to connect to your heart once again. And offering gratitude to Goddess Sekhmet for her support in this transformation on our journeys. And just taking a moment to notice how your body feels after this, noticing what you're present to. And then what you can do with your ashes, you can either place them into the earth and pour a cup of water over them. You can simply flush them down the toilet. But you want to sort of release them in water in some way after the ceremony. All right, beautiful. So I'd love to check in and see what's present for you, how that was, what you're sitting with. Okay, yeah, good. I'm glad you went outside. Are you still burning? Take your time if you are. Yeah, it is nice to burn the knots. Oh, beautiful. And how are you feeling now after that? So if you're tuning into this recording, I invite you to take out your journal and journal what that experience is like for you. If you're here live too, you can also journal after this class, and just try to record and write down as much as you remember, any of those insights and tidbits that were alive for you. Yeah, okay, you've done paper burning before, and the knots burn differently, definitely. Felt releasing, smell of the knots burning. Awesome. Yeah, knot burning is a little different. It was really new for me too, because I had only known about paper burning. So it's quite fun, and honestly, I find a lot of comfort doing my nodding when I'm experiencing intense emotions real time. So I do my best to carry this around with me. So as emotions come up, or I'm floated with some intense memories, or I'm dealing with something in my life that's just like, really hard to deal with, I'll just break out my knots, sit in nature, and just start nodding all my frustrations into it. So it's just another form of release. Like if you're familiar with EFT, which is like emotional freedom tapping or emotional freedom technique, it's like you're tapping on different parts of your body, these different energy highways in your body to release stuff. So it's like real time releasing. This is also kind of cathartic in that way, where you're like nodding all the stuff up. So definitely recommend this practice moving forward into your repertoire so you can pull it out whenever you need to. Um, but yeah, that is the nodding ceremony, and that is a little bit more about Sekhmet. She is such a vast goddess. We could actually go on and on and on about her. But I'm feeling like that's enough for now. Maybe we'll do a part 2 in the future. So I just, I'm gonna take a moment to just finish off this class that is being recorded here, and then we can tune in after to share more. But you know, take your time. There's an integration process after this. So if you notice any emotions that come up for you today or tomorrow, just be really gentle with yourself and hold compassionate space if you can for yourself. And make sure you're drinking a lot of water. So anytime we're doing ritual or ceremony work, we need to be hydrated. So you want to keep drinking your liquids and your teas, and rest, right? Do your best to rest if you can at this time in your life, just so you can properly integrate. You might notice that your dreams are different, or something might come through in your dreams. So pay attention to those as well, and you can record those. And yeah, thanks for tuning into this class. If you have any questions or need additional support after tuning into this, feel free to reach out at our email, fiercefemininerise@gmail.com. And infinite blessings until we meet again in another class, in another time and space, maybe even in the present moment. All right, peace.